In a world where the paranormal meets the preposterous, where ghostly whispers echo through the abandoned arcades, and every creaky floorboard might just be a clue, two bravish souls dare to investigate the mysteries no one else will touch.
The Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators. They don't always get it right, but they always get it weird.
Hey there, mystery lovers and mischief makers. I'm Steve.
And I'm Dan, together with the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators, your guides through the weird, the wild, and the wonderfully unexplained.
Each week, we dive headfirst into bizarre tales, haunted happenings, and conspiracy theories so strange they'll make your nan's ghost stories sound like bedtime lullabies.
We're talking cursed vacuum cleaners, psychic pigeons, haunted theme parks, and maybe, just maybe, a few real clues along the way.
So grab your flashlights, your EMF detectors, and maybe a snack, because things are about to get weird.
This is the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators, where the only thing scarier than the truth is how much fun we're having finding it.
This episode of Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators is actually being live streamed, because it's probably the last one we're going to do for a while together in the same room.
Well, physically together in the same... Obviously, all of them are going to be together, but this one's physically in the same room.
It may not be another year until we do another one of these together.
Hopefully it's not another year, but let's hope that it's going to be a bit sooner than that. But, you know, we can try doing some live streaming as long as people are following the Boo-Foons social medias.
I mean, the good thing about doing them remotely is there'll be less alcohol in the house.
Correct.
And we will be very much so. Well, I will be much more sober in future episodes of Boo-Foons.
Yes.
But today we're going to look
Can't speak for myself on that one.
I can't speak for myself any day, really. You certainly will be drunk. Or at least not necessarily drunk, but lubricated.
Lubricated.
Not in the sexual way. I was going to say in the oral way, but again, not good. So you'll be lubricated to a degree of relaxation that's required.
To be absolutely mad,
Yes.
as we are as the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators, yeah.
Right. Your leg's going. Is that you're excited?
No. ADHD brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a bit of... Yeah.
Right. Okay. I've got the information. Henrietta Nelson.
Henrietta Nelson. Now, I love this story.
But what you shouldn't love about the story is the fact that Yaxley Hall apparently is in Suffolk.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the eyes, and I'm not sure which eye it is. If it's the eye in Suffolk, then...
Sorry, what do you mean the I in Suffolk? There's no I in Suffolk.
Not the letter I.
Oh.
The place eye. There's one in Cambridgeshire, one in Norfolk, one in Suffolk.
Oh, the Eye of Suffolk. Apparently it's in Suffolk, though.
Boo.
Right, we're now not doing the story of...
We're now not doing the story of Henrietta Nelson.
I like people in Suffolk better than people from Norfolk.
Fine, that's podcast over. that's done.
Everything over.
That's the whole podcast done.
All deleted.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anybody from Suffolk.
Yeah, good.
Is anybody on our live stream from Suffolk?
Anyone on the live stream from Suffolk? I hope not.
It's gone very quiet, so I think everybody's logged out.
To be fair, one of the last questions that were on there was about the other tag, and he has put ghosts, as we're talking about ghosts.
Henrietta Nelson, 1734 to 1816. She's quite old, actually, for back then.
Yes. Well, she was a very well-to-do lady.
So it's funny, isn't it, how the rich always seem to live longer than the poor?
Yes, that's because they don't have to work. They get people to do the work for them.
I think we'll probably be dead next week by that. Okay, she died by falling down a flight of stairs at her home in Yaxley Hall in the English town of Eye. Before her death, she made it explicitly clear that she wanted to stay in her home for eternity. Or in a countryside estate, apparently.
Yes, huge countryside estate.
Huge countryside, not just a home.
No.
We're talking... And countryside estate. She took the countryside here. The whole of Eye was her countryside estate.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty
Pretty
much.
much, yeah.
Okay. So she wouldn't have gone down too well today, would she, in today's socialist environment of...
No,
Okay, before her death, she made explicitly clear that she wanted to stay for eternity in a huge countryside estate. So a mausoleum was built. Was that built when she was alive still? So did she build it, or was it built afterwards? It doesn't make it clear here.
I understand it was built while she was still alive, purely because she didn't want to leave the estate and she wanted to stay in her home. So therefore, she had the mausoleum built so
To her
she would
specs.
stay on the estate.
My mausoleum, if I had it built while I was still alive, would have a cinema room in it and maybe a fast food restaurant.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Which one?
doesn't matter really, as long as the food was there.
Fair play, fair play.
Okay. But yeah, okay. So she had a mausoleum built on the grounds that she could rest peacefully. However, years later, the new owners moved in and destroyed the mausoleum, moving her remains to a nearby church. Do you know, that is real desecration, isn't it? If someone's had the site of a mausoleum consecrated as a burial ground, which it would have been,
Yes, especially
them
in
to-
that era.
yeah, for them to come in and tear it down so they could put a swimming pool in, that's the thing of poltergeist.
Yes.
That's, in the film Poltergeist, at the end, the swimming pool, all the bodies came up. I wouldn't do that.
No, it's like people want to have all these bad things that
They
goes
want to
happen
have
to
it
them.
haunted, don't they? They're like, how can I make this house haunted? It could be, we could make it into a pub and pretend it's haunted, or we could just bury, trash his mausoleum, dig up the bodies, stick them elsewhere, and build a swimming pool there.
Yeah, and just get rid of everything, every
Yeah.
trace. And
Wow.
if you're her, all right, assuming her spirit is around, and that sort of thing, you've gone through all that effort of paying to have this mausoleum built, and then suddenly somebody has ripped it all out. Your wishes are now not agreed to, and of course you're going to be angry.
Yeah. I mean, I would have put it in the deeds to the house.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't be able to be touched, because you can do that. Obviously, if you want to sell a house or a land, you can change the deeds to say this. You can or can't do that. You can have conditions on it.
Yeah.
She should. I mean, all the money she had to build a mausoleum, she didn't bother to change the deeds to say keep it there.
Yeah, and it's
Oh.
no, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So she had foresight, but not that much foresight.
no,
Okay, so they tore down her mausoleum. They buried a body in a nearby church. I'm assuming graveyard. And according to legend, Henrietta Nelson has haunted the grounds ever since. She's been trying to return to her desired resting place. Now, there was a portrait of Henrietta by the artist William Johnson, and apparently it became possessed by her spirit, because if she couldn't find that big building that she wanted to be buried in, the next best thing would have been the picture of her.
yes, a picture. Well, if I was to go into a picture, you'd want to find one that was really good of you, wouldn't you? The best picture
The
ever
best
that
picture.
really portrayed. Have you actually seen the portrait of her? I don't think I put it on the Google Docs, but it's
It's a hat.
yeah, it's that.
It's a hat. The whole picture is basically this little woman wearing the biggest hat you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe she got confused and thought that the hat was the mausoleum, because the hat was that
big
huge.
enough to be a mausoleum.
Yeah.
I without my glasses, I couldn't actually make out any features of her face because the hat was just there.
Yeah.
She was this tiny little woman with this ginormous hat. It's like having a 4K image and having the image in the corner of the screen and the rest of it just being a hat. Yeah. So apparently she possessed her picture.
Yes.
She possessed her painting. So whenever this painting moved, her spirit went with it, apparently. So she possessed this picture and she stayed with it, if that's my understanding.
Yes.
And people who had this picture I don't know why anybody would want this picture for a start.
Well, the best of it is, have you got the picture was stolen from
Stolen?
Yaxley Hall. It was stolen. So somebody saw that picture.
I want that. I don't want to pay for it.
With a huge hat.
I like pictures of hats.
I'm going to steal this painting.
But so people who had this painting have said it's possessed because her face changes in the picture. As if anyone could actually see her face in the picture because it's all hat. I didn't even know there was a face in that picture. I thought it was just a picture of a hat.
And it is just... we will have to... when we post this episode, we will have to put on social somewhere this painting of just hat with lady.
Okay, so it says viewers have reported her face in the painting changing shape. Shape? What? Square? Triangle? Octagon?
Yeah, who knows?
And a pale figure with identical clothing walking the grounds.
So they just saw a massive hat floating around.
Hat. Yeah. So you just saw a hat floating around. It's Henrietta. She's followed her painting. In 1995, the painting was stolen and a ghost vanished from the building. Convenient. Because nobody had this hat to refer to as a reference.
Yeah. So, maybe the ghost was just the reflection of the hat.
But again, why would somebody wait from 1816 or 18... Okay, she died 1816. So the picture was painted before she died. So let's say about 1800 this picture must have been taken. Because, that looks about the age. Maybe 1800, late 1700s, 1800s, early 1800s. This picture was painted of her. After 1816, she died. She was obviously happy in a mausoleum. It doesn't say when her mausoleum was knocked down.
Nope.
But let's give it a few years. Let's say she died in 1816. So maybe 1840, they knocked down the mausoleum, built a swimming pool and a jacuzzi and hot tub and whatever, because that's what you did in 1840. So now she's unhappy. She's possessing her painting. So they would see a ghost of her wandering the grounds trying to find her mausoleum, which is now a 4-star, hot tub, spa, jacuzzi kind of thing. So they see this lady with a giant hat walking around. But then she transferred to her painting because it's the only thing she recognized was her hat. So 1995, the painting was stolen and she stopped haunting Yaxley Hall, which is fantastic. Well done, Yaxley Hall. Spa, top. It gets now 5-star review. So she disappeared. Because the painting stolen, and she disappeared, they reported, okay, she must have been possessing her painting. But then the painting was then sold at auction and bought by Brian Hall. Now, is this Brian Hall from Cosgrove Hall Productions, or is this a different Brian Hall?
I think when I looked at this, he has some sort of link to the church or Yaxley Hall around the late 90s, early 2000s.
So it wasn't Brian Hall from Cosgrove Hall, the animation company?
Probably not.
Okay, but he was obviously stealing in stolen art. So he bought a stolen painting. Rather than being returned, it was bought at auction. Yes. Which, again, is quite weird, because if it had got to that point and it was reported stolen and it turned up, it was only stolen in 1995, it would have been listed as stolen.
Yes.
So as it turned up in the auction hall, they should have said, this is stolen. Let's call the police. Let's return the big hat back to where it comes from. But no, it ends up in a rectory.
Yep. Maybe
I've already lost track of this one already. That it's a stolen painting should be bought on the open market and then returned then gone to a rectory, where she started haunting the rectory. But she only haunted the rectory by having her face change in the painting.
Yeah, because she was possessed. Maybe she was at the rectory, still trying to find the mausoleum and getting back to Yaxley Hall somehow.
But what sort of things are you expected to find in a rectory? I know what I expect to find in a rectory, and I imagine it's very different to what she expects to find in a rectory.
I imagine to find a vicar living there and a church nearby.
Anything else?
Well, depending what type of...
Rectory.
Rectory? A rectum.
Rectory. An erect rectory. But why would somebody buy a picture of a woman in a big hat and decide to now put it in Banningham Rectory?
Yeah.
But okay, so the painting was okay. So let's ignore the fact it was a stolen piece of artwork,
Yes.
a random bad piece of artwork stolen, not a Van Gogh or a Picasso or a Constable.
No.
It was a William Johnson painting of a woman in a big hat that was stolen.
Yeah, of just random woman, big hat.
Yeah, big hat.
And
Anyway,
to be honest, if I was at an auction looking for artwork, the painting of Henrietta Nelson with her big hat is not one that I would go, oh, I want that on my wall.
but it's fascinating that things that were happening in the rectory would change her face from happy to sad. What would change somebody's face from happy to sad that was happening in the rectory?
Not finding the mausoleum. So maybe somebody walked in and
But she wasn't
destroyed a
wandering-
hat.
She didn't wander around it. She just looked happy then sad. Disapproving.
Disapproving.
Oh, Vicar, you've put that in the wrong hole.
Yeah.
I'm now looking sad at you.
Oh no, Vicar's wife, you've got rid of that lovely hat.
Where's my hat gone?
Yeah.
I'm now looking sad. She's wearing a hat. I'm now happy again.
Yeah.
Somebody said Yaxley. Oh, I'm not going home. I'm sad again. Okay,
Yeah.
so her face went from happy to sad constantly. And then, this is the bit I love, right? So in a matter of moments, her face could change from happy to sad in the painting. So they thought, we're going to return it back to Yaxley Hall. How did the people at Banningham Rectory know this was stolen from Yaxley Hall and let's return it to Yaxley Hall?
You see, the more you say this, the more I'm thinking Brian Hall might have been the person who stole it in the first place.
So he knew it came from Yaxley Hall.
Maybe it was some sort of money laundering scheme.
A hat laundering scheme?
Hat laundering scheme.
So the end of this story, from what I have here, is the painting was removed from Banningham Rectory back to Yaxley Hall with no explanation how they knew it came from Yaxley Hall.
Yep.
And the sightings of her ghost and the unhappy painting disappeared or stopped.
Yes, and to my knowledge, the painting is still hanging up at Yaxley Hall.
But so the mausoleum is still not there. Why has she stopped haunting it?
Yeah, well, maybe it's a case of she's been away from home that long.
She was just happy to be
She's
back.
now forgotten about the mausoleum, and she's now gone, oh, I'm back home. And maybe they haven't noticed the face changing from happy to sad anymore because
They're just
she
so
likes
happy
the
to have that
decoration that they've got.
This is a stupid one.
It is.
It doesn't make any sense.
And I will say the most of the information from where I found this story from, there was a lot of news stories talking about haunting paintings and a few blog posts, and this was one about haunted painting. But the whole bit about it being stolen and Brian Hall, I believe, was from a newspaper article.
A Norfolk newspaper.
Yeah,
article.
EDP.
So
Eastern Daily Press.
from the look of it, she was unhappy because it moved from Suffolk to Norfolk.
Maybe.
And she was only happy when it went back to Suffolk.
Most likely.
Maybe she realised being in Norfolk made her so unhappy she had to haunt the painting. And she was so relieved after it got back to Suffolk, she stopped haunting it.
To be fair, as a Norfolk boy, if I went from Norfolk to Suffolk, I too would be sad. So I can understand it the other way round.
Can I just say that from looking at what I've been looking at here, Suffolk and Norfolk both claim it's hers, that she is theirs.
Yes.
How good has this painting got to be that both Suffolk and Norfolk demanding it's theirs?
Have we actually done a Google map to find which eye Yaxley Hall is in?
Well, this article here says it's Norfolk, but I've seen another one that says it's Suffolk. They're both claiming it's theirs.
Let's look at it on Google Maps.
Okay.
Let's find where Yaxley Hall is on Google Maps.
Okay, but it says here, hold a second, Brian Hall bought a painting and a chair, complete with its own ghost.
So he went to an auction.
Yeah.
bought a haunted painting and then also managed to buy a haunted... What type of auction does Brian Hall go to?
We can't ask him because he died 8 months later. But he had his picture taken with the painting. Then he died. I don't think I can show it to the camera, but
Yeah.
you're not going to see that. But that's actually Brian Hall with the haunted painting 8 months before he died.
Try and put it closer to the camera.
You can do it. It's plugged into the socket though. So Brian Hall with the haunted painting just before he dies. And it's only a small painting. She had a huge mausoleum built because she can only have a small painting done, A4 size.
Yeah.
I mean, she knew.
Well, how did he die? Was it linked to the ghost chair?
I mean, look at her face in the painting. She looks just confused. I mean, look, she's like what? She's like got one the Sean Connery eyebrow.
She's just 100% sad in that bit, mate.
Yeah. She does not look. I can't imagine that being a happy painting at any point.
Unless it's like the Mona Lisa, where some people think it's happy, some people think it's sad.
Some people think it's a man, some people think it's a woman.
That is a full-on grumpy... If I paid an artist to paint a portrait, and that's the facial expression they gave me, I would definitely be haunting that painting.
Yeah. I'll be haunting the artist.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. So, step inside the billowing Bonhams marquee, and laid out before you is the life, the forest, ancient umbrellas, armies of grandfather clocks, life-size wooden bishops, and a stuffed terrier. This life belongs to Brian Hall. Bachelor, funny enough, schoolmaster, picture restorer, and prime example of what is known as an antiquarium. Sorry,
Antiquarium.
Too much cider and some stout. So he went and bought it. God, this guy was nuts. So she haunted her painting. She haunted her house. She haunted the painting. The painting went... But it was full-blown haunting of her house and the grounds, right, before the painting was stolen. So she was actually wandering the grounds looking for her mausoleum.
Yeah.
When the painting was stolen, all she could look was confused in the painting.
Yeah.
So it went from a full-blown haunting to just looking like I'm a bit upset in a painting.
Yes.
Until it was returned, and then she just looked just annoyed the whole time. It never looked happy again.
Yeah.
She's not haunting anything anymore.
It only took 200 years for her to forget about the mausoleum.
Oh, I forgot about the mausoleum already.
Exactly.
Do you know what? This is again another one of somebody started off a rumour. Then people forgot how to carry it on. This is like the Toadmen all over again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where we start something off. Somebody says something for a laugh.
Yeah.
And people just kind of forget about it over time.
It's got to, and how would you continue that one on? Like, it's almost like they've gone, right, we've heard about this Yaxley Hall and this mausoleum and this ghost. And then suddenly everybody forgot about it. And then somebody goes, hang on, Henrietta Nelson, wasn't she that random ghost one day? And then this dude has then found the painting and gone, haunted painting with my haunted chair. Does it say if his other possessions are haunted or just the chair and the painting?
Well, I think the haunted dog is another one. There's the full-size stuffed dog.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of stuff here. He's got it even mentions the ghost of a goblin friar.
Ghost of Goblin Friar.
Yeah. He's got the ghost of Lord Byron as well, because he inherited that with the house he lived in. Do you know what? I think Brian Hall is more interesting than the actual ghost of Harriet Nelson. I think we should forget about Harriet and look more at Brian, because...
So when they say Byron, as in
Lord Byron. The poet, yeah. Apparently he had the ghost of him too.
So this dude just went out and went, what creepy stuff can I buy?
How can I get as many ghosts as possible in my house? He
was a bachelor, so he's lonely.
Okay.
So is he trying to make friends with ghosts?
Yeah, because he had a haunted chair. He had the haunted clothes of Charles I that he wore on his execution day.
But how does he know?
He obviously has this... He had this sense, maybe he was getting close to death himself, because he did, like I say, he died 8 months later. But he'd been collecting all these haunted things. No, sorry, it's just this guy. I wish we could get him on the podcast. Maybe we can. I know he's been dead for a few years, but maybe we can get him on the podcast.
If anyone knows any clairvoyants out there who can talk to Brian Hall, let us know. Get in touch. Boo-Foons, social media.
From inside the shop, she heard a voice crying out, "Save me, save me." Peering into the dark shop, she saw a woman with the red flame hair and a fine gown sitting on a chair. Keen to help, she opened the shop door and heard the woman making the same plaintive cry. At that moment, the owner of the shop appeared. "This is Mr. Ben." Mr. Ben.
Is this the haunted chair?
Yeah, that's it. But somebody else pointed it and then he went and bought it. I'm reading an article here from the Norfolk Press, and it's just, how do people in Norfolk actually...
So what I'm learning is if Brian Hall was still alive, we could just choose a random object. We could go to a car boot sale, buy the most random object that we've found, and tell him that there's a ghost living in it, and we could then sell it on to him for £1 million or something.
Or he was just going to find everything haunted he could find. But then he died 8 months later. Maybe because he was so close to the end himself, he could actually detect these things.
Maybe he was planning something like setting up a museum, and this was him drumming up interest in the museum of, I've got all of these things that are haunted. And then he died.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Brian Hall.
Yeah, Brian Hall, you sound like you knew what you were doing.
But what happened to all of these ghostly things? So obviously the Henrietta Nelson, who we actually started this thing about until we found out that the buyer of her painting is far more interesting than her. She's at Yaxley Hall again.
Well, it sounds like he knew he was, when he found out he was dying because he was at ill health, he put everything into auction again. All his haunted stuff, everything. And for some reason, the painting ended back up at Yaxley Hall.
So what you're saying is we can go out there.
2,500 lots he had going up for auction when he found out he was dying. That's
all
how
haunted.
Much stuff he had. All sort of, antiquarian, unusual, specialist, haunted stories.
Maybe this can become a side series to the podcast. We now go and find all of these haunted relics.
We should find Andrew Jones, who actually catalogued his house, because he said he's knew him for 25 years, and it's a Norwich-based valuer, and he came in, he was just a delightful old man with a strange aura about him. His knowledge of paintings was unbelievable. So I think we should try to find Andrew Jones and interview him about Brian Hall. I think we should do this as an episode.
Yes.
Because this has just led on to a stranger mystery. This is mysterious. Do you think there are some people who can see these things? They can actually feel these things, and maybe are drawn to them a lot more than others. Because if there are, this Brian Hall was one of them. Because looking at all the things he had.
Well, it's sort of funny you say it. So one of my granddad's friends, who as a family we all call Uncle, he's not blood related at all. He has this insane ability to go into a charity shop, look at the bric-a-brac stall, and just choose an item that turns out to be some sort of antique. He'll buy it for like 50p or whatever the charity shop is selling it for, and then he'll take it to an auction house and then sell it on for 100, 200 quid. And he just has this insane bit. And I've been with him when he's done it. He'll go into a charity shop and he'll go, that looks expensive. He'll take it off the shelf, go to the till. He'll then buy it for whatever it is, 20p, 30p, whatever. And then he'll take it to, one of these antique dealers and then auction it off for a ridiculous amount of money. So he clearly had the eye for, well, probably still does, the eye for antiques. Brian Hall clearly knew something about antiques. But the other thing with him is he seemed to know haunted things and things that were possessed. He seemed to be
drawn to stuff like that.
And like you rightly said, there are apparently people that have these auras and abilities to be attracted to things. Mediums and that. They seem to know this ghost stuff. And yes, a lot of it is cold reading of situations. But when you hear these stories of they've got several ghost hunting teams without talking to each other to go into a place at separate times and all found a very similar thing in a very similar location in the building. It does sort of build up a bit of a case, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely, again, nothing's as cut and dry as we suspect it is.
No.
Like I said, we go into this very skeptical, and then the more we're looking into this, the more things that leave you with a little bit of doubt that maybe there is something in it.
I reckon in a year's time of us doing this, we'll be
devout.
Yeah.
We'll believe in this completely.
We'll be out there. We'll be going. We've gone from nah to suddenly ghosts are everywhere. There's one there.
Out of interest, Dan, what was the last thing you got from a charity shop?
Last thing I bought. Good question, because I can't even remember the last time I went in a charity shop.
So I'll tell you what the last thing I got from a charity shop, which was actually bought to me by my family, by my wife and my daughter. They bought me for Father's Day because I saw it in the charity shop window. They surprised me with it. Father Abraham's and the Smurfs album from 19 whatever
Fantastic.
it was. The Smurfs with the original, which got into the charts back in the day. The craziest Smurfs album.
You've now got me thinking, what was the last thing I bought in a charity shop? When was the last time I went in a charity shop? Oh, I know what it is. I was invited to a party where the theme was sparkly and gold and silver and that sort of thing. And I went into a charity shop and there was this absolutely hideous waistcoat that was covered in sequins, and it was only like £1, and that's what I wore to this party. I no longer own it because, brilliant thing,
You returned it to Yaxley Hall.
one of the people at the party, one of the blokes, actually really loved this waistcoat that I'd bought for £1. It must have been bonkers. And actually said to me, if I buy you a drink, will you give me your waistcoat? And to be honest, considering the waistcoat was going to be redonated to a charity shop anyway, I was like, yeah, buy me a drink. And, technically I won because the drink was more expensive than the £1 waistcoat that I bought.
Well, you should ask our viewers there what the last thing they bought.
Yes,
if there's anyone left.
There's a handful of people. Actually, we've had some messages that we've totally ignored because we got...
we can have a look at the messages now.
Yeah, let's have a look at the messages. How was the ghost pubs? Yeah, so we were talking about that earlier. Very interesting. We noticed that all of them were made of stone. And talking to the staff, we also noticed that a lot of the staff were like, I don't believe in this thing, but this weird thing happened. So we have done a whole episode about the ghost pub. So that'll be released when we eventually edit all of these together. The ghost was stolen. The stolen ghost.
I'd love to steal a ghost. But yes, it's a strange one, this Yaxley Hall one. And apparently Yaxley Hall, they're saying it's in Norfolk and in Suffolk, so I can't work out which it is.
Did you manage to Google it on Google Maps?
Oh, I'm looking at, you look at Google one as far as the search engines, and they're saying they don't know. Because no one can decide. Suffolk. Yaxley is a small village in Suffolk. Yaxley Hall, Suffolk. But then a lot of them say Yaxley Hall's in Norfolk. So
that was a story of
Brian Hall.
Well, Brian Hall started off as Henrietta Nelson, and talk about her haunting and her haunted painting, and morphed into a more interesting story about Brian Hall, the guy that bought her painting at auction.
Who seems to have bought everything at auction. Ghostly everything.
And the question is...
That's a bit roughly, sorry. I could put it in my pocket.
And the question is, did he actually know these things are haunted, or is he claiming these things are haunted?
Well, he's dead now.
Yes, we'll never know.
But he wasn't the only one, though. Apparently, looking at it, the auction house knew that weird things were happening.
Mystery.
Let's get in touch with the auction house and find out.
Yes.
Let's do some detective work. We are mystery investigators after all.
We are the mystery investigators after all. And if they get back to us, and if we find anything from them, we'll either try and get somebody to talk to us on there, or we'll mention it in a later episode. It might be that we end up in a later episode going, yeah, so do you remember we spoke about Brian Hall and Yaxley Hall and Henrietta Nelson? Yeah, they've got back in touch with us and basically told us.
It was rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just had junk.
But we'll find out. And we'll tell people in the future.
Or the past.
Or the past.
Because it's mysterious.
Mystery. Anyway, we have been the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators. Thank you so much for listening this week and to this episode. And join us next time for more mysteries.
The Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators. They don't always get it right, but they always get it weird.